Today, we're diving into a landmark of American literature, Ralph Ellison's Invisible Man. And let me tell you, this isn't just a novel. It's a book that fundamentally changed the game. You have to understand, when this book came out in 1952, it was more than just a new release. It was a seismic event. It completely upended what readers thought they knew about identity, race, and the whole American experience. It really did reshape literary history. And the critics? They saw its power almost immediately. Just 1 year later, in 1953, Ralph Ellison made history. He became the very first African-American writer to win the super prestigious National Book Award for fiction, a huge deal. And its reputation has only skyrocketed since. Fast forward to 1998, and the Modern Library put its official stamp on it, ranking Invisible Man as number 19 on its list of the 100 best English-language novels of the entire 20th century. That's some serious company. The novel's influence, well, it reaches far beyond just literary circles. It even helped shape a future president. As the New York Times pointed out, Barack Obama actually modeled his own memoir directly on Ellison's novel. I mean, that's a testament to its incredible lasting power, right? So what's the story actually about? At its core, it's this surreal, often heartbreaking journey of an unnamed narrator. He's a young black man making his way from the South up to Harlem, and along the way, he keeps crashing into a society that just refuses to see him for who he is. The narrator's life is just this series of brutal lessons. First, he gets kicked out of college and heads to New York with what he thinks are letters of recommendation, only to discover they're a total setup. Then a factory explosion literally blows away his memory. He finds a home in a political group called the Brotherhood, but soon realizes they're just using the Harlem community for their own gain. Every single step is another layer of his identity being stripped away until he finally just gives up. He escapes into a coal cellar to live underground, completely invisible to the world. But here's the thing that makes Invisible Man so revolutionary. It's how Ellison tells the story. He made a very conscious choice to break away from the tradition of the straightforward protest novel. He was aiming for something totally different. And this line right here, from the narrator himself, it's basically Ellison's mission statement. He's signaling a huge shift. This isn't just about complaining about injustice. It's about exploring something much deeper, much more complicated, about being human. Okay, so let's break this down. On one hand, you have the social protest novel, like Richard Wright's amazing book, Native Son. These focused on sociology, politics, a direct critique of injustice. But Ellison? He took what he called an experimental attitude. He was way more interested in the inner life, individual identity, and this surreal, almost Kafka-like absurdity of a world that refuses to see you. It's a search for self, not just a protest against society. To pull this off, Ellison had this really fascinating philosophy about his inspirations. He believed that while you can't pick your family, an artist absolutely can choose their ancestors. He put it just like this: you can't choose your relatives, but as an artist, you can choose your literary ancestors. So for him, a contemporary like Richard Wright was a relative, but a giant like Hemingway, that was a chosen ancestor, someone he could learn from and build on in his own unique way. And look at the ancestors he chose. We're talking literary heavyweights from all over. He's pulling from T.S. Eliot's poetic style, Hemingway's clean prose, Faulkner's complex South, Melville's deep dives into race, and even Dostoevsky's existential angst. It's this incredible mix that gives the novel such a unique and universal feel. But this bold move was definitely not celebrated by everyone. Some of his peers were incredibly critical. The writer John Oliver Killens, for example, said this, arguing that the book's complex internal focus was a vicious distortion of Negro life, and that it basically turned its back on the real political struggle. So even with that harsh criticism, why does this novel still feel so vital? Why are we still talking about it today? What is it about this voice coming from an underground cellar that still gets to us? Well, for one, many people knew it was a masterpiece from day one. Just listen to what the novelist Saul Bellow wrote in his review back in 1952. He called it a book of the very first order and praised how it mixed tragedy, comedy, and poetry. He saw it as the work of a truly powerful creative mind. But I think ultimately the reason the book endures is because its themes are just universal. It's about that desperate search for identity, that deep need to belong, and the fundamental human struggle to just be seen for who you really are. It speaks to anyone who's ever felt put in a box, misunderstood, or just plain invisible. And that brings us to the book's haunting, unforgettable final line. As the narrator gets ready to come out of his cellar, he turns the question back on us, the readers. He asks us to think about the ways we might be invisible too. And he leaves us with this chilling thought. Maybe, just maybe, this voice from the underground is speaking for us all.